Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is the Winners and Whiners NFL preview show. Man, that's a lot of words. Yeah, we're going to talk about the playoffs. We're going to talk about the division round of the playoffs with the wild card round in the books. We're going to move on to the four games. Four games. I know everybody on my panel today is happy about four games instead of the usual 9, with 7 of them coming in the NFC South that we usually break down in the early window. But let's get rolling. I'm going to introduce myself and the panel. Of course, I am Scott Steehn, one of the fine experts over there at winnersandwhiners.com. You can find my daily videos on the Winners and Whiners YouTube channel. And speaking of daily videos on the Winners and Whiners YouTube channel, well, he's on less of a daily schedule now, more of a building suspense, TBD kind of schedule. How many videos you shoot a week, Mason? A couple, 3?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then on TikTok every day. There's a lot of videos there. That's the main.
Oh yeah, he's
right now.
He's all over TikTok. You're probably starting to see it hit your feeds on X or Facebook. Even I saw one of the TikTok videos come on my Facebook feed the other day. So he's all over. By the way, it's Mason Folz. He's out there in Colorado. You doing good, buddy?
Doing really good. A little bit chilly, but I think everyone else in the country is too. So bundling up and getting ready for this weekend's games.
Brutal. Been a brutal week in KC for the last 7 days. Absolutely. Started with about 8 inches of snow, and then we just went right into 0 and sub-zero temperatures. So speaking of guys, probably no stranger at all to sub-zero temperatures coming up there from New England way. He's Mark Ruelle. What's up, Mark?
Not too much. Yeah, we're getting hit with it as well. We got some snow last night into today, and we're now shoveling it out.
And where are you located? Are you actually in the Boston area?
I am. Yeah, I'm about a 15-minute ride to Boston.
All right, very good, very good. Patriots fan, and we have another Patriots fan. He's been smart enough to get out of New England. He looks at everybody else freezing like, I don't know why I would do that. Currently making his home in sunny California, it is Seamus Cole. What's up, Seamus Cole?
How are we doing, guys? Yeah, it did drop to a chilly 40-plus degrees at night in Los Angeles. So everybody else is cold, but I've told them to stop complaining. Born in getting my Boston roots in there, telling them it's not 0 yet, so you're fine. So
you're fine. Time to get out. Nothing like walking around LA when it's 50 and seeing people wearing parkas, like gloves and shit. Like, what are you doing, man?
You're not far off.
No, I'm not really exaggerating, man. They're not hardy stock out there if you're a native LA person now. But 40% of the people probably are like yourself. You came from somewhere where you've seen snow before. You know what bad weather is, and you can't help but make fun of these. So, hey, speaking of bad driving but great weather, making his home now in Houston, Texas. He's the Houston Texans' newest super fan. It's David Delano. What's up, buddy?
I don't know about Houston, Texas' newest super fan. I had to do the walk of shame out of that stadium on Saturday. It was a very, very long walk. Right now, Houston, they're they shut down a school today. It had wind chill of wind chill of 12 degrees last night, and right now it's about 33. It's supposed to get down to 20. No rain or snow, but it's cold outside. So Texas is tough in a lot of ways, but not so much with the weather. We'll see how the Texans do Baltimore.
If we suddenly lose your feed, we'll know the grid just bit the dust there in Texas. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That is always a concern because it doesn't matter how cold it is. I mean, if the power goes out, 20 is really cold.
That'll do her. That'll do, Pig. That'll do. Absolutely. So, hey, speaking of the Texans, let's talk about the Texans first. But before I do, let's implore you people to once again like this broadcast. Don't just like it, but show us that you like it by hitting the thumbs up, giving us that like. You can do it. Come on, you're not doing anything right now. Just hit it. There you go. I'll wait. Okay, now we'll talk about football. Oh, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, do that. Check out great premium plays. Everybody here has premium plays over at winnersandwhiners.com. Simply click on the expert tab at winnersandwhiners.com and then scroll down. You'll see all the cappers available. If you want to check out records, you want to see who's doing well, you want to see who's not doing well, you can check that and make your decision accordingly. All right, as previously mentioned, we have 4 games, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. Let's start it off in the AFC, shall we? As those Texans who jumped up and bit David's Cleveland Browns right in the behind, they travel to Baltimore, Charm City, if you will, take on the Ravens. Ravens 9.5-point home favorites. Your total on this game is a robust 45. Let's fire it up, starting with our favorite. I'm not even going to call him a masshole because the Patriots, if they were good, I would call him a masshole, but I can't kick a man when he's down. It's the lovely and talented Mark Ruelle. Mark, give us your thoughts on this game.
Well, I'll tell you, I was just as I was going over the stats, I was thinking about the first game between these two teams, and it was on paper. You look at it and go 25-9 Baltimore, easy win. But when you look at it a little deeper, this is Stroud's first game in the NFL. The yards were 5.5 to 5.9. Houston just was beat out. They won the turnover battle 2-1. And the thing about Houston all year, and this is with a rookie quarterback, they're first in giveaways. They don't give the ball up. They're not gonna make it easy for the Ravens to win this game. They're also second against the run, which is important. Baltimore's 12th in giveaways, and they've had a history in recent years of struggling in the playoffs. I think Baltimore will win this game. I don't love the 9.5 points. So for me, I'm going to take the points and go with the Texans here at 9.5.
All right, very good. Worked out last week. Could work out again. And, yeah, I talked about that last weekend before foolishly picking the Browns anyway. It was the fact that how good the Texans had been against the run. That's kind of a sneaky stat. But yeah, they're second in EPA and they're second in yards per attempt given up by the defense. It's a very, very stout Houston run defense, and probably the average NFL fan couldn't name 3 guys on it. But yeah, there you go. Seamus, do you agree with your fellow New Englander there that Houston's the play in this one?
I can agree with him, but I'm not necessarily going to go with his decision. I'm going to take a sidetrack here. I'm going to go with the over in this case. The Ravens have hit the over in 8 of their last 10 games that Lamar has started in, and the Texans just put up 45 against a supposed elite defense in the Browns. So CJ Stroud has been cooking pretty much all year long. He's had 20-plus points in the last 4 games overall. And the Ravens still have a quietly great offense. We'll see what Odell does to ruin it with his, I think, limousine that he was getting. So hopefully that doesn't blow up or anything like that. And Baltimore has also hit the over in their last 5 of 7 overall as well. So I like the over in this case.
Now, for those of you that may not live on social media or down deep in the rabbit hole, would you mind explaining for our audience what you're talking about, Odell and his limousine?
Yeah, so I read the headline and then I didn't read much else of that. But apparently Odell rented out either a limousine or some sort of vehicle that all the Ravens players were going to share, and they were going to go party for a bit. The last time that happened with the Giants, Odell was on the Giants, and that was a tragic affair. So
and limousines and Ravens players have a sketchy history as well. So
they're doubling down on that one. I don't think it was a limousine now that I think about it, but it was some sort of vehicle. You just look it up.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get right on that. All right. Well, you really, and that shows you right there how little we rehearsed this show. Because obviously I wouldn't have come to a guy whose first thing is, well, I didn't read past the headline. But so my apologies for asking you to delve deeper. It was a nice little one-off, and I wanted you to go in the weeds. So
listen, my analysis is on the spread and the totals, not on the Odell stuff. So
that's fair. That's absolutely fair. So you're on the over 45.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
we got a side. We got a total. Where you at, Mr. Delano?
Remind me whenever I start a sitcom to make a first call to you to be one of the writers for it.
I'm in.
But in this spot, the one thing, like I said, I'm concerned about with the Texans is the weather. We talked about Houston; they don't get a whole lot of cold. It's 20 degrees. That can be tough for them. But looking at the Texans right now, they've got a lot of momentum going on. They had to win down the stretch. They won their last 2 games of the regular season. They killed the Browns. CJ Stroud has been improving. He's been great. They're 7-2 in the last 9 games that he's played in. That includes one of those losses was against the Jets when he got knocked out early, not turning the ball over, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions for Stroud over the last 6 games. For Baltimore, I wonder if the extra rest is really what they wanted at this point. They were playing as well. Look, best team in football. They won 10 out of 11 games before they, rested a lot of their starters in that game against the Steelers. Now they had a week off. Going up against a Texans team that had to win. I'm going to go ahead and back the Texans in here plus 9.5. Houston's playing with house money. If Houston loses this game by 40 points, it's still been a successful season. Everyone's been talking about how the Ravens are the best team in the NFL. Lamar Jackson MVP. Let's not knock Lamar Jackson, but hate to do this, but I mean he is 1-3 in the playoffs, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, been sacked 19 times in those 4 games. A lot of times in the NFL, they build you up to tear you down. I think just a little bit too much love for the Ravens. I'm taking the Texans plus the 9.5.
A lot to be said for the team that's basically playing their 3rd playoff game in a row, versus a team that hasn't played a meaningful game in 3 weeks. So yeah, I totally get that. Mason, what say you?
I'm actually going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to take the under 45 as I don't trust the Ravens offense in these playoff games. Like Delano was just saying, Lamar Jackson has struggled in the past in these playoff games. I also love the fact that Houston's really good at stopping the run. I think they're going to do that against Baltimore, which will keep this game low scoring. And then this Texans team, yes, they've been playing very well. CJ Stroud's been slinging the ball all over the yard, but this Ravens team is legit, and it's tough to beat them in Baltimore, in the playoffs, in the cold. I think CJ Stroud's going to show a little bit of regression, and this total is going to stay under 45.
Well, we're going to have a little something for everybody here in this opening game because I'm going with the Ravens, and I'm laying the points. We've got 2 games this week with massive spreads. My guess is one of them covers, one of them doesn't. I think this is the one that covers. I like both sides of the ball for this Ravens team right now. Their defense led the NFL in sacks, put up 60 sacks. Their offense and then defense combined, they've had the highest point margin in the NFL since week 11, plus 90. And their defense finished 6th in EPA per play. That is in the last 10 seasons, not this year, in the last 10 seasons. And the main factor for me in this one, they're getting Mark Andrews back. And he was having a monster season before he got hurt. 45 receptions on 61 targets, 544, 6 receiving touchdowns. By the way, that still leads the team despite him only playing 10 games this season. But what happened in the interim time, Baltimore discovered a new budding superstar at the tight end position in Isaiah Likely. Likely, by the way, a member of my all-time favorite receiving duo at Coastal Carolina, Highly and Likely, were the 2 leading receivers on that Chanticleers team. Just a classic. You can't make it up. But he's had 5 touchdowns, and he's hauled in 21 of 28 targets, 322 yards in 6 games. Before that, in the first 11 games, 9 catches, 89 yards. So they've learned how to utilize him, having 2 quality players at that position, including probably one of the top 3 in the NFL and a young star in Isaiah Likely. I think the offense gets it done here. I like this Texans team. I'd love to, obviously, as a Chiefs fan, I'd love to see them jump up and bite them. I also wanted to see Pittsburgh win yesterday, and that's about how that worked out. I think this one worked out close to the same. Great story. Texans, we'll see you next year. Ravens, we'll see you next week in Baltimore. Give me the Ravens, minus 9.5. All right. The words of Kid Rock, we're heading out west. This is going to be the Packers and the Niners, a rematch of 4 years ago. Was it the year the Niners played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, that was 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Ugly game for the Packers. Looking for a little revenge here. This is the other game we talked about. We're going to have two blowout games potentially on Saturday, and Niners are 10-point favorites here. Total is 50. Mark Ruelle, what you backing here?
If I may give you an aside, you just talked up my former high school basketball player, Isaiah Likely. I coached him in high school, believe it or not.
Outstanding. Nice.
Yeah. So he's another Mass resident. So he was, my high school forward of my high school basketball team.
You did such a great job of coaching him in basketball.
I
He
did.
tried it in football and career. So
I did. I said, please do not become a basketball player. It's not your fault.
Outstanding.
It worked out for everybody. In this game, I looked at this one, and first of all, the Packers were outstanding against Dallas. Love is looking better and better each week. To me, the over jumps out at me, even though it's 50. I don't think it's actually – I'm not too worried about 50. The one thing that Green Bay does very well, much like the Texans for a young team, they don't give the ball away. They're third in the NFL in giveaways this year. But the thing they do poorly, and the Niners should dominate, and Dallas just did not take advantage of this, is they do not stop the run. They're 24th in the NFL against the run. I don't see a world where the Niners don't rush the ball up and down their throat this game. Having said that, I think with both teams top 10 in scoring, I'm gonna be comfortable that the Packers will score enough in this game to make it interesting and get this game over 50. If you're one of those people who gets into the props, the Packers are number one in the NFL in scoring in the third quarter. So if you're looking for something like that, they'll get it. They'll get this. They'll make this thing interesting. But I'm a little fear of the line of 10, but I do like the over. So I like the over 50 in this game.
All right. Very solid. Seamus, you jumping on the over train here?
Not this time, no. I like what Mark said about the Packers will make it interesting. I'm sticking to their narrative. So the Packers did well with their narrative beating the Cowboys last week. They're going to stick to their narrative this week and lose to the 49ers, but I believe they will cover the spread. They are on a hot streak right now. They have won four in a row, and the only time they've lost by 10 plus points was in October against the Bucks. So they have been able to keep the games close, whether they win or lose. And the 49ers haven't really played anyone significant since November when they played the Bucks. So you can tell me whether that's a significant win or not. And the 49ers haven't really covered the spread all that often recently, which gets me a little concerned. They failed to cover the spread in 3 of their last 5 games and 2 of their last 3 against the Packers. So I like the Packers with the momentum only on the spread, but I think the 49ers will still win.
Okay, very good. He's got it's a 2-dog day for Seamus as he's back in the Texans and back in the Packers. Very good, very good.
No, I got the over. I got the over.
Oh, you took the over. That's right. You lean Packers, but you got the over. My bad.
We'll wait for the next matchups before I take the dogs again.
That's fair. Delano, gonna bail me out and take a dog here?
Well, I really want to take the dog here. 10 points looks like a lot, but also, I mean, we did see 5 of the 6 playoff games so far decided by double digits. I mean, the Packers, they've won similar to the Texans. I mean, they're coming in with a lot of momentum. They've won 4 straight games outright as an underdog, and they've won 7 out of their last 9. And as much as I want to take the Packers, I agree with what you said, Scott, as far as between these first 2 games. I think one of the dogs is going to cover. The other one's going to be a blowout. As much as I want to take the Packers, I have to take the 49ers in this one. I think that the performance that Green Bay put up against Dallas, if there was any chance that the 49ers were going to overlook this Green Bay team, they're definitely not going to do it. Last year, I mean, the 49ers, they've got to believe that they were the best team in the NFL, but they had all those quarterback injuries. 49ers first in the NFL in yards per play. I just don't think that Green Bay is going to be able to get enough stops. Right now, Green Bay is on a high. I kind of think about the last time Green Bay was really on a high after they beat the Chiefs on a Sunday Night Football. Then they got torched by Tommy DeVito and the Giants. Then they got lit up by Baker Mayfield and the Bucks. I think that might have been the game he had the perfect quarterback rating. And then they bounced back and beat the Panthers after that, but they gave up 30 points to the Panthers. That's about what the Panthers did over about 6 games. So I think that the 49ers are going to come in hungry. They're going to come in focused, and I don't think Green Bay is going to be able to get the stops. This really feels like the Packers could hang around. I can see this being a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter, and then the 49ers just extended, and before you know it, they win by 17. So I'm going to lay the 10 with the 49ers.
Very good. Mason Folz.
Yep, I'm going to agree with Delano here. I got the 49ers minus 10 as well. I think that this team is simply too good at home, and the Packers, they have been on a roll. They've won 4 straight. I agree with you guys a ton there, but Aaron Jones pretty much put the team on the back last week and got them into the end zone multiple times. I don't think San Francisco is going to allow that, because they're very good against the run, and they can control the screen pass. They're going to force Jordan Love to beat them outright, and I think he's going to look like the young player that he is. He's going to struggle against this 49ers defense on the road, and I think this is going to be the blowout we get on Saturday. I agree with you, Scott. I think one team's going to cover in the big spread, and one team's not, and I guess we just flip-flopped a little.
Okay, fair. I think I don't think the fact that Jordan Love has been this good has been reported enough. He has been outstanding. From week 10 to the end of the season, he was second in QBR, only to Dak Prescott. And since November 19th, man, he has thrown 21 touchdown passes and 1 pick. Watching that Dallas game, I never saw a game where more receivers were open 15 to 20 yards down the field, just wide open, just absolutely buried them schematically. Now, do I think the same thing can happen to the Niners? Probably not as often, but this is a Matt LaFleur offense that's shown an ability to get guys open, to flood the zone, and to find that sweet spot. Having said that, there's no way I'm taking them. I think this is a game. I'm kind of the anti-Delano in this one. I think San Francisco gets out to a quick start, and this probably bounces back and forth between 14-7, 14-10, as far as the point differential goes. I worry about where it ends up. I worry about a late backdoor cover from the Packers. That's why I'm going to go with the other two esteemed panelists and play the over. I think San Francisco is probably going to do the majority of it. I see them putting up 30 plus, and I think Green Bay will do enough to get that total up and over the 50. So give me Packers Niners over the 50. So. All right, moving on, heading to Detroit Motor City. Man, I'm tired of seeing Eminem ruining the game of football. Good Lord, can we just stop showing Eminem? Sorry, that's my Taylor Swift rant. I am astounded that many people are that worked up about Taylor Swift. I don't get it. Do you guys agree or no? Am I underplaying it, or I mean, I know people are like kind of tired of it, but they showed her. I think they showed her 2 times during the game.
2 more than it should have been.
Okay.
I mean,
by the way, get off of Seamus's yard, would you?
I will say I don't sit there very often, Steehn, as a Broncos fan, and watch many Chiefs games. But when I see her on ESPN, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Do you want me to it's just a person at a game. Even if they show her, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I don't remember all the hatred for Giselle when they were showing Giselle all the time.
It's a good point.
But she wasn't as animated. She was a lot more conservative. I don't know. It's just for me, people that get yanked up about it, like seriously, clearly there's something else you got to worry about. So,
right. It's fun to channel your hate towards somebody, right? You gotta. You've got to get on Twitter and give us your hot take about how Taylor Swift sucks. Like, okay, whatever, man. Hey, let's talk a little Buccaneers Lions. All right, Buccaneers heading up to Detroit. Detroit 6-point home favorites, total 48.5. Oh man, Buccaneers, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Bucks kind of had warm-up games last week, as they all 3 played against teams that really weren't all that terribly competitive. Buccaneers riding the hot hand of, it says here, Baker Mayfield. There must be some sort of error on my part when I was making my notes. He's been outstanding. He's been Baker, man. Meanwhile, Lions, great story. Be the first time they've won a second-round game since 1957. If they were able to get this done, which was the year they won their last championship, by the way. A lot of angles in this one. Square them up for us, Mark.
You want to simply root for the Lions because God help them. God help that fan base. But I looked at the first game and the Lions won 20-6. What jumped out at me was Gibbs didn't play, and Montgomery had just 6 carries, and the leading rusher was Josh Reynolds in the game, just to give you an idea. Wide receiver Josh Reynolds. To me, the only concern I have to go against the Lions is the turnovers. They are 17th in giveaways this season. But last week they didn't turn the ball over. I just think I looked at Goff. Goff had 322 yards passing on the road, which is not his strength. He's much better at home. He was excellent last week. I can't see Mayfield replicating this week's performance against an Eagles team. Let's face it, just mailed it in. I mean, that tackling was atrocious. They almost have nothing to look at on film because the Eagles didn't show up. The Eagles just didn't.
Couldn't even score on the tush push. Couldn't even score on the tush push.
It was unbelievable. I've never seen such a team that just basically said, "See you later, we're done." So for me, the Lions played a tough game. They probably played the toughest wild card team in the playoffs. I thought the Rams were, the scariest wild card team that was in there, and they beat them. It was a squeaker, but they did beat them. I think they're going to play even better this week. I'm not scared by the 6 points. I like the Lions -6 in this game.
Lions roar. Seamus, what do you say?
Well, the Lions didn't give up any turnovers last week, but they still only won by 1 point, which means they failed to cover the spread. So I like the Bucks in this case. I like Baker Mayfield. He's shining at the right time. The Bucks are 9-2 against the spread as underdogs this season, and they've covered their last 4 of 5 overall. They've also won 6 of their last 7 overall, and I honestly see no reason to bet against them right now. The Lions failed to cover the spread last week. This is sort of a new squad. I know Jared Goff has some experience in the playoffs, but most of these players don't have that much experience. And the Buccaneers have championship experience with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Vita Vea. I can name 7 other players, but I'm just going to keep this short and simple. I like the Bucks 6.5.
How many of you guys think you could name 7 other players?
I think they all rented an RV before the last game.
They rented an RV. Oh, Delano, we got one on each side here. Break a tie for us, would you?
Well, one thing I wanted to bring up real quick, I know that we have a lot of parlay bettors out there and a lot of people focus on winning percentage. But out of these first 3 games, not sure exactly which one, I have my guess on which one it'll be. If you take those first 3 dogs, you could go 1-2. If one of them wins, you would profit if you do those evenly. We got some big underdogs, and I think one of them's going to win here. For this pick, I'm not saying outright, but I'm going to actually have to back the Buccaneers plus the 6. I think that by the time a lot of our viewers watch this, there might even be some 6.5s out there. Another one, I want to take the Lions, but this is just such an emotional win after, beating the Rams, who I think, the Rams were playing great. They took down Matthew Stafford, big emotional game in Detroit. I mean, the ticket prices out all these playoff games was by far the highest in Detroit. Now, playing Tampa Bay and possibly seeing what happens on Saturday night, they could be looking ahead. And you've got out of the Lions' last 7 wins, 5 of those wins have been by 6 points or less. Got Tampa Bay's won 6 out of their last 7. They've covered us 4 straight as a dog. I think Baker Mayfield, when he's doubted and, we're expecting him to lose, that's sometimes where he could be the most dangerous. And this could be a little bit of a letdown spot for Detroit, possibly looking ahead to the 49ers or Packers after that emotional win. I think that this is going to be close. Even if the Lions win, I think that this one's going to be at least within 4 points. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers plus the 6.
A couple of points. I'm looking offshore right now, and it already has gone to -6.5 at -110. So it's well positioned there. And also, what he says about playing all 3 dogs is correct. 305 on Houston, 335 on the Packers, 240 on the Bucks. So yes, if one of those teams wins, the worst you can do is pick up 0.4 units. Which, you know what, make 0.4 units every week, and you'll be fine. That's the way that works. So. Very good, Mason. Where's your heart at on this one?
I'm gonna even it out. I'm gonna take the Lions -6. I think it's gonna be pretty big that they're at home. I think Jared Goff has a lot of confidence right now. And this Buccaneers team, even though they did beat the Eagles, like Mark was saying, that Philadelphia team, it really just wasn't that big of an impressive win to me, as the Eagles were done weeks ago, I feel like. And this secondary for the Buccaneers, they're giving up 6.9 yards per pass, which ranks them 25th in the league, and they're also giving up about 248 pass yards per game, which ranks them 27th. I think Goff is going to have another big game. He's going to find Amon-Ra, and Laporta was actually playing this last week. I was surprised by that after his injury, but he's back running well, and I think this Bucs team is going to struggle to shut down Goff in their passing attack, and Detroit's playoff run is going to continue on.
Very good. Yeah, I think Laporta was kind of like not quite a full decoy, but I think he was a semi-decoy. I don't think he was anywhere near 100%. 3 targets, 3 receptions, 14 yards. So
That
did get a TD. Did get a TD though. So
yeah, the knee brace he had on was pretty shocking to me. That was about the largest knee brace I've ever seen. So once I saw him on the field, I was like, holy, the fact that he's actually playing. And that was a big reason I was riding the Rams, and then he suited up, and I was like, holy cow, that's a interesting start. So it'll be good.
Everyone listening, I'm going to make a general comment and say Matt Laporta is way tougher than you are. I'm just going to say that. I'm not, and I know he's way tougher than anybody on his panel. I'm going to extend it to anybody watching the show. Those guys they're on a different level. They're on a different level, you know. You see those guys submerging themselves in ice baths. Meanwhile, I go outside for 3 minutes to walk the dog, and I need to like jump into the fireplace. So, we are not the same. We are not the same. So those guys are tough, and I think that extra week is certainly going to help him to just continue to get better. We talked about it a little bit on the show last week. He's a great tool because they can use him underneath, and he's able to find the soft spot in the zone, very similar to a Kelsey, moves very well after the catch. They also may get Khalif Raymond back. We talked about Khalif Raymond plays an important role because he's the field stretcher. He's the guy that opens up a lot of those underneath routes for Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is number 1 or number 2 in yak, and a lot of that has just been on that crafting stuff that they're sending guys deep, and he's able to find it and evade the tackle. So I'm going to call for threading the needle here. All right, I think the Lions win this one, but I don't think they cover. I think the Bucs are able to keep it close. Somebody talked about it earlier. This is a Lions team that the defense, just generally speaking, does not allow them to blow people out. Apologies to you, Mason. I know they did that to the Broncos. But for the most part, every other game they played has been about a 1-score game since the middle of November. So I think this is a Lions team that knows how to win. I just don't know I don't think they know quite how to close the door yet. So I'm going to take the Bucs to cover the 6. Believe me, I'll be waiting to see if we can get that to 7 now that it's starting to go to 6.5. So, but for the purposes of this show, I'll still take the 6 and call for the Lions to win. How about that for a bold prediction? All right. So now, no offense to you guys, but it's the game that I wish Chris King were here on the panel so we could talk about this, because he's.
I think I'm glad he's not. That might be.
He's got some good trash talking. He always texts me and yells at me because what some dumb Chiefs fan on Twitter said. I'm like, yesterday he's like, you know, it's your boy, and then he gave some name like I don't even know who that is. Like, he is not my boy. I do not. Chiefs fans on Twitter do not represent me. So, what do you guys think? The Josh Allen thing, did he give him the okie doke? Was he faking a slide, or was he just making a move? Ruelle, what do you say?
I actually, and maybe you'll remember this from the Chiefs game, I actually was blaming Mahomes for doing something very similar. The play that he cracked his helmet, he gave the look like he was about to go down, and they stood around, and then he ran ahead. I suggest that's going to be something they're going to have to address sooner than later. If they're going to protect the quarterbacks, they can't take full advantage of it like that. Either one, and I'm fine with blaming either one for it. It's something they're going to have to address, honestly.
Seamus, how'd you see it?
I saw it as a good run. I mean, you got to tackle the player while he's in bounds. That's all it is. You can't be afraid of making a 15-yard penalty. I mean, if he's going down, you can see it. I know the reaction times are so fast in the NFL, but if you're the defense, he's standing up. Just make the tackle. That's all it is.
Seamus looks a lot younger than his 58 years. I got to be honest. Delano, what do you say?
I'll tell you what. Out of the first 6 playoff games, there were 5 of them that I paid close attention to. This wasn't one of them. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it.
All right, fair enough. Mason, how did you see it?
I thought it was a nasty stutter step. He could have pulled off a hesitation in an NBA game with that move, but I don't know. He stayed on his feet. Can't really argue it. It was a nice move, but
Yeah, the first time I'd heard about it, King said something to me about the people on Twitter were bitching, and I'm like, I didn't notice it in real time. I went back and watched it, and like, yeah, I'm not seeing it. I didn't think. I thought it was a move. I thought, he's breaking out them Josh Allen spin moves or whatever. No, what a spin move, but you know what I'm saying. He's trying to juke out. So yeah, he's a weapon, man. He is absolutely a weapon. Bills are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Chiefs. 46.5 is the number. Going to be cold in Buffalo, maybe a little snow. I don't know. I think the Chiefs kind of established their bona fides last week, being able to win in the cold. And I will say this to all Bills people. That stadium, that was a remarkable transformation. If you saw it like in the morning when they were still working on it, to have that stadium have all that snow out. It wasn't even on the sidelines. I don't know where the snow went. I'm assuming obviously it went into Lake Erie somehow, but I don't know how it got there. That was an amazing feat that they were able to pull off there in 24 hours. The stadium looked good. Mark, what you think here?
Well, I'll start by saying I said this about 5 or 6 weeks ago. That to me, the team that should scare everyone if they got in at the time, it was still a question, was Buffalo. I mean, the team that scared you don't really want to play them if they're right. So they beat the Kansas City 20-17 in week 13. That was the third game that Brady was doing the play calling. And you could start to see a change in the run to pass in that game. They ran the ball 28 times and they threw it 43. Yesterday, they ran it 34 times and threw it 30, which I think has really become their winning formula. And I look back at the 2 previous playoff games with the Kansas City. In 21, they threw it 48 times and rushed it only 18 and lost. And in 22, they threw it 37 times and rushed it only 24 times and lost. To me, if they can keep this game balanced, and the Chiefs, let's not pretend otherwise. The Chiefs have a very good defense. This is their best defense they've had during this run. But if they can keep it balanced, given that I just don't see how Kansas City can put up high number of points, I like Buffalo -2.5 in this game.
All right, very good. Seamus?
I seriously hope to God I'm wrong on this one, but I like the Chiefs 2.5 in this case. The injuries to Gabe Davis, Rasul Douglas, and Terrell Bernard in the defensive end kind of concern me. We'll have to see their status. I know you're going to say that this is a Tuesday that we're recording, so we'll have to wait till Sunday. But just keep that in notice for all the people watching. And if the Chiefs can stop the run game, as Mark said, and make the Bills one-dimensional, Josh Allen was Superman against the Steelers, but that was the Steelers. I mean, the Chiefs are a much better team than that. So I don't know if Josh Allen can be Superman yet again against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have had the Bills' number in the playoffs multiple times. The Buffalo has an 8-9-1 record against the spread on the season, and Kansas City has covered in the last 3 games. So Kansas City is kind of getting better at the right time, unfortunately. And I like this Kansas City Chiefs +2.5.
I won't even call that thinly disguised Chiefs hatred. What's your beef with? What's your Chiefs beef, buddy?
They played the Patriots in the championships games, and Mahomes is getting compared to Brady. I'm not down for that.
He really didn't like Taylor Swift's coat this week. It was really offensive.
Show me on the doll where the Chiefs hurt you. Good Lord.
I could do that.
Oh, Delano.
Yeah, just backing my boy Mason over there.
Yeah, so this is a rematch of right before when the Bills started going on that roll where Pat Mahomes threw that temper tantrum and that 3-point loss. But the Chiefs, they've Andy Reid, they've taken their foot off the gas a lot. They haven't looked overly explosive, but this defense is really good, and I like the Chiefs in spots when they're getting some points and count it out. Actually, the Chiefs they've won their last 5 games outright when they've been an underdog on the road. not too often. And, they've had a lot of success away from Arrowhead. That's not counting, the Super Bowl last year at a neutral site where they finished as a small dog. Buffalo, yeah, I know I mentioned that first game, that game against Pittsburgh, that was one that I watched the least and saw they were up 21-0. I'm not too worried about that. Pittsburgh was by far the worst team in the playoffs. I'm going to go ahead and back Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid here over Josh Allen. I like the Chiefs in this spot. Buffalo getting a lot of love as world beaters. I think it's wide open for the Chiefs. People want to see them to lose. A lot of people want to see them lose. But I'm going to take that 2.5 in Kansas City.
All right. You can, if you don't want to take the 2.5, you can get it at plus 125 for the outright heartbreaking loss of the Buffalo Bills there. Mason, take the Chiefs. I dare you.
I'm actually saving my my side pick. I'm thinking about making it one of my NFL game of the month. I haven't had one yet this month or even year. Haven't done that, but I like a side in this game a lot. I'm not going to say which one it is. So I'm going to take the under with my pick in this video today, as I really like this Chiefs defense. I think they're very, very good. They're going to make it tough for this Buffalo offense. I also see Josh Allen having a turnover or two in there, which it's going to help keep this total under the number as long as the Chiefs don't return those 4 touchdowns. And then again, this Chiefs offense, they haven't been overly explosive like David is saying, and they're just not scoring a ton of points. I think this is going to be a close, low-scoring, cold playoff game, and I'm going to take the under here.
All right, very good. I got to tell you, if both of these teams play up to their capabilities, both these teams play as well as they did last week, it's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be another Chiefs-Bills classic. However, I think the potential is there for one side to be way better than the other side, and that side is Buffalo. This is a Buffalo team that's been a lot more consistent than the Chiefs over the last half of the season, basically. Starting, with that defeat there in KC. As far as Mahomes on the road, he's been pretty darn good. The all-time leader for the first 50 road starts since 1950 has 38 wins, 38-11. Of course, that person is Tom Brady. I'm kidding. It's Mahomes. Of course it is. 38-11 on the road, 36-11 at home. So it actually, his percentage is better on the road than it is there in Arrowhead. Josh Allen, man's a weapon. You just can't argue with it. Yes, he's a turnover machine. He's a guy that's going to break your heart with stupid turnovers. But man, if you need 5 yards on third down and there's nobody open, there's nobody I'd rather see starting to run than Josh Allen. Generated double the EPA, 60.2 of any other quarterback on designated carries and scrambles this season. That is not nothing. I just think this Buffalo team's playing better football right now. Now, if the Chiefs show up, if they do what they're capable of, if Rashee Rice is really a true number one receiver, they can get Kelsey open. If the defense really is the defense that we've seen, Chiefs absolutely have the shot to pull off the upset in this game. But I think the more probable conclusion will be a Buffalo win and a cover. So give me, reluctantly, the Buffalo Bills minus the 2.5.
And I don't believe you. You just don't want to jinx it.
Yep.
No. You've been doing shows with me long enough to know I'm not afraid to take a homer pick. I took him last week. I took him.
You did take him last week, I will say.
Yeah. And I liked him last week against the Dolphins. I just, again, I don't know what Chiefs team is going to show up. If you told me that, we fixed our problems and offense is going to go put up, 380 as far as total yards, 380, 400, I'm like, okay, I'll give me the Chiefs. But I just think the Bills have a better chance of playing the better football game. So, that's what I'm basing it on. But, again, no offense to anybody that's believing my words and making their bets accordingly. I hope I'm wrong. But I'm afraid I'm not. Really
what? It's funny when I hear this. I'm now an old school Patriot fan. I'm hearing a lot of the things that I used to hear about the Patriots, and it is hard sometimes. And I love the famous line Bill Parcells used to always say is, "You are what you are." And the more you look at the Chiefs, we can all make our things. Oh, they've won these many Super Bowls. Right now, what they are is a team that reliant on their defense to win. Travis Kelce is a step slower. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, he's a step slower. He's not played well in several weeks. That's what they are. So, like, to David's point about them being overlooked. Boy, we heard that here all the time. God forbid the Patriots were only a 3-point favorite. We're all like, they're overlooking the Patriots. 2.5 on the road in the playoffs is a fair number. That's a fair number. So I just look at it, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, it's not about, this is Buffalo's year so much as this is probably who these two teams are right now. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. And again, the Chiefs showed some signs of life on offense on Saturday night, but what does that mean against a seriously depleted Miami Dolphins defense? Did it really prove they're back, or is it the team that Kelsey still had 3 terrible drops?
Yeah.
The other receivers, I guess they just had to get the temperature below 0 so they could hang on to the damn football. Because nobody else had a drop. MVS caught a ball. It was unbelievable. Everybody caught a ball except Kelsey with 3 drops. Still had a decent night. Still, I think he had 80+ yards or whatever. But I don't know about this team. I just don't think it's our year. I just don't. And Mark's right. That's a fair number. That's 2.5. That says the Chiefs are either a half point better or they're even on a neutral field. Depending on where you put the home field advantage this year, it's probably somewhere around 2.7 or whatever it is. So, it's a fair cap. It absolutely is. It could go either way. I think the Bills take care of business here. So, there you go. And, guys, so we're not going to we will not see you guys next week. So I want to get your Super Bowl predictions, not on who wins, because we'll do a show on that. Then you will be part of that. Who's going to be there? Start with Mark Ruelle. Who's going to the Super Bowl, buddy? Who's going to Vegas, baby?
I think the best team in the league is the 49ers, so I think they'll get there, and I think they're going to be facing the Bills. I do.
Okay. Fair. Seamus?
This might be a simplistic pick here, but I do like the Ravens against the 49ers in a rematch of a regular season contest.
Okay. Very good. Delano?
Houston and San Francisco.
Nice.
Houston and San Francisco. Outstanding. Mason?
I'm going to go with the Ravens and 49ers too.
Man. So everybody's on the Niners, huh? I want to pick the Lions so bad.
I wanted to pick the Lions
you and me both wanted to, but I can't.
I don't think they can stop the Niners offense. I just don't.
I wanted to do it so bad.
Niners Bills. I think the Baltimore. I think playoff Baltimore. If they win this week, I think playoff Baltimore shows up the next week, and the Bills are a team on a mission. Good Lord, talk about a team that's due. Come on.
I know. I will say this: how fun is it going to be if the Lions get there? Dan Campbell throwing everything but the kitchen sink to win that game against the Niners. I mean, it'll at least be fun to watch. I mean, it'll be fun.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see. If the Chiefs are out, I'd like to see the Lions and the Bills in the Super Bowl, just so one of those poor tortured fan bases can get some redemption. And that would, I don't care about the Bucs. I don't care about the Niners. Houston would be fun. I would accept Houston from the AFC if they went on that would be my number 1 pick. That they go on a run and end up in the Super Bowl. I think my dream matchup would be Lions and Texans. I just think that'd be
if we're doing favorites, that's.
But I don't think that's going to happen. But it would be fun if it did. We'll see. All right, that's our show for this week. As always, you can find these guys on various places on social media. Mark, you got your handle right there?
I do have it right there. Bet with Rue 24. Yep.
There you go. Bet with Rue 24. Seamus, I'm assuming people can send you a letter or something.
Maybe. It depends if I get it with the mail carriers or whatever. But no. Find me on Winners and Whiners and Stat Salt. I write an article every day on Stat Salt. I'm also gonna flex a little here. I'm 6-0 in my last 6 picks on Winners and Whiners in the experts section. You can check that out to prove I'm not lying as well. So I picked the Packers to win as well. So I'm a bit of a hot streak. So if you're feeling dangerous, then go for my picks.
You're feeling dangerous. Yeah, I was on a nice little totals run, and then that's over. So Seamus is red hot right now. Speaking of a guy who's almost always red hot on one sport or another, where can we find you, Mr. Delano?
Yeah, over on this YouTube page, along with the expert section, and I'm on X at Get Sports Strong. Did 3 total picks for my premium picks last week. Went 3-0 on the premium picks and for the opening weekend of the NFL playoffs. If you're watching the free pick videos, went 2-1 on those. So overall 5-1 on my NFL picks, and looking forward to having another good week.
Outstanding. Mason Folz?
Yep, picks have been going good over on the experts website on the Winners and Whiners page. Also had a bunch of parlays cash over on TikTok and in the Discord over the last few weeks. Then our new Twitter X page and our Facebook and Instagram page are all up and running. So you can find all of our reels, parlays, free picks. We pretty much got all sorts of things on all our social media sites. So give us a follow and we'll make sure to help you win some money.
Yes, we've got age-appropriate social media for everybody. If you're 14 and you're on the TikTok, we got you covered there. If you're 70 and you're on Facebook, you can check us out over there. And everything in between, you got the Gram, you got X, all that fun stuff. Mason blowing it up on the social media, and nothing gets you followers like winning. And he's been absolutely crushing it lately with the free parlays. I will add. So, yeah, make sure you check me out. I'm on X at Steamroller, right there, like the sign says. You can usually check out me for takes that I think are funny, but generally about 4 people like them as well. So check that out and give me a like, for God's sake. Give me some sort of positive reinforcement here in what I'm trying to do. As always, thanks very much for watching, guys. Thanks for watching all year round. 2 more shows, boys. 2 more shows. That's it. And just 1 more with you guys. That's it. You've almost completed your contractual obligation. So checks in the mail. Hope you guys enjoy those. And we appreciate everybody joining us here this week. We'll be back next week to talk about 2 games. 2 games. How exciting is that? 2 games. It's gonna be like a 12-minute show. It's gonna be so wonderful. So we have shown a remarkable ability, by the way, to stretch the shows to almost an hour, regardless of how many games we're handicapping. So once again, we've done it. You're welcome. And you guys have a great week. Oh yeah, absolutely. We're gonna spend an hour and a half on 1 game, but we'll be talking props and Gatorade color and national anthem and all that stuff. And will Taylor Swift be wearing a hat? Come on, who wants to know? Yeah, there you go. Hey, you guys have a great weekend. We appreciate you checking us out. Hope all your bets win big, and if they don't, come back and grab some premium plays the next week because we'll be there. You guys have a great week. We'll see you for the conference championships. There you go. Just take care.